There comes a moment in the life of every human being when silence becomes unbearable, when the stillness within transforms into a scream that no longer fits inside the chest. It is not a noise that others can hear. It vibrates only inside you, subtle yet thunderous, echoing in the hollow spaces of your being. You try to go on as before, but something has already shifted. You can't name it, you can't fully grasp it, but you feel it pulsing beneath the surface like a secret truth trying to break free. What once felt stable now trembles, what once made sense now rings hollow. And this confusion, this inner crack, is not your enemy. It is your beginning. It is life demanding authenticity. It is inevitability dressed as crisis. At some point, everyone encounters this invisible rupture. The moment when who you are collides with who you have been pretending to be. Some run from it, hiding behind distractions, schedules, obligations, and the comforting anesthesia of the ordinary. But a few, the ones who sense that this discomfort carries sacred meaning, stop running. They begin to listen. They begin to awaken. Carl Jung called this mysterious turning point the call to individuation. The moment the soul refuses to live beneath its own mask any longer. You have worn your persona like armor, polite, functional, acceptable. It has served you, protected you, allowed you to navigate the complex theater of society. But now, the armor has grown too tight. The mask suffocates, and in that suffocation, the soul begins to stir, whispering through dreams, through exhaustion, through the quiet ache that no amount of entertainment can soothe. The very symptoms you once hated become your compass. Despair, boredom, fatigue, the feeling of disconnection. These are not malfunctions, they are signals. They mark the border between the false life and the authentic one. Modern culture teaches you to interpret pain as pathology. You are told to fix it, to medicate it, to bury it beneath productivity or distraction. But pain, in Jung's understanding, is a messenger. It is the voice of the unconscious demanding to be heard. When ignored, it amplifies itself. What begins as unease transforms into collapse, forcing the ego to face what it has avoided. This collapse is not destruction, it is initiation. It is the psyche dismantling everything that no longer serves truth. And though it feels like dying, what dies is only the mask. Look at your life. Perhaps you inhabit relationships that drain rather than nourish, jobs that pay you with money but steal your vitality, routines that promise security yet suffocate spontaneity. You tell yourself this is normal because everyone else seems to live the same way. But common is not the same as natural, and normal is not the same as alive. You were trained to value stability over meaning, compliance over freedom, reputation over truth. You were told to follow the path already drawn, to be grateful, to fit in. But deep down, the question persists: right for whom? For what? At what cost? Jung warned that the true danger of modern life is not chaos, but adaptation to the inauthentic. To live a life that is not yours and never realize it. That is the silent tragedy of the age. And when the soul tires of this slow suffocation, it rebels. It sends you symbols, a book that moves you unexpectedly, a dream that lingers for days, a conversation that shakes something awake inside you. You begin to see patterns, coincidences that feel charged with meaning. Jung called this synchronicity, when inner need finds reflection in outer event. It is not that the universe conspires magically. It is that your unconscious intelligence magnetizes the signs you need for transformation. The moment you become ready to listen, the world begins to speak in the language of symbols. If this message has found you, it is not by chance. You were drawn to it because something in you recognized its truth. You may think you merely stumbled upon a video, but the psyche knows better. It has been searching for this mirror, for confirmation that the pain you feel is not madness, but metamorphosis. What you call collapse is the threshold of rebirth. You are not broken. You are being initiated. Most people spend their existence as functional sleepwalkers, efficient, polite, compliant. They wake, work, consume, rest, and repeat. They call this normal life. But underneath their smiles lives quiet despair, a fatigue too deep to name. They scroll endlessly, buy endlessly, plan endlessly, anything to avoid facing the emptiness inside. The system rewards this numbness with comfort screens, fast food, digital applause. It keeps you too busy to question, too tired to revolt, too entertained to awaken. But the moment you start to question, everything begins to tremble. You see that the so-called order is built on your obedience. You see that your exhaustion is not failure. It is evidence that your soul still resists domestication. The ego will do everything to silence that resistance. It will rationalize, minimize, distract. It will tell you that you just need a vacation, a raise, a new relationship, a little more time. But you have already tried those remedies. You know they do not cure the ache, because the ache is not a symptom of something wrong. It is proof that something within you refuses to die. The unlived life, Jung said, is a sickness of the soul, and many die from it long before their final breath. But you are here because your soul is stronger than your conditioning. Suffering, then, becomes sacred. It is the alchemical fire that burns away illusion. Every tear, every night of doubt, every moment of feeling lost is not punishment, but purification. The psyche, like nature, destroys only to recreate. You are in the middle of that destruction, and that is why everything feels unstable. But beneath the chaos, a new order is forming. You cannot see it yet, because it is still gestating within you. You are both the seed and the soil, both the pain and the possibility. When you finally stop trying to return to normal, and instead allow yourself to go through the fire, transformation begins. The ego screams, convinced it is dying, but in truth it is only shedding skin. The self that emerges on the other side is not a new mask, it is the unmasked. It does not need validation, because it has found meaning. It does not chase perfection, because it has embraced wholeness. Wholeness includes the shadow, the parts of you once rejected. Individuation is not about becoming pure light, but about integrating darkness consciously. Only by facing your shadow do you recover your power. The emotions you have suppressed, anger, envy, grief, desire, are not flaws. They are raw energies distorted by repression. When accepted, they become allies, sources of vitality. The process is demanding. It asks that you confront fears you have avoided all your life, the fear of rejection, of failure, of being alone, of disappointing others. Jung called this confrontation the meeting with the dragon. The dragon guards the treasure, but to reach it you must be willing to face fire. The dragon will whisper that you are unprepared, that it is safer to stay where you are, that you will lose everything. Yet beyond that fear lies the gold, your authentic self. The dragon dies only when you step forward despite trembling. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision that truth matters more. This leap into the unknown is not comfortable. You will lose things, people who prefer your old version, certainties that once protected you, dreams that were never truly yours. But what you gain is worth the shedding. Inner peace, presence, and the quiet dignity of living in alignment with your soul. The moment you cross that invisible line between the familiar and the authentic, life changes its texture. Time feels different. Synchronicities multiply. You begin to meet people who resonate with your frequency, not because you seek them, but because you have become visible to them. You stop begging for belonging because you finally belong to yourself. Still, the hardest truth remains, no one can do this for you. There is no savior, no teacher, no guru who will rescue you. Every genuine path is walked alone. Others can point the way, but the steps are yours. This is not cruelty, it is freedom. When you stop waiting to be saved, you reclaim your power. The world has conditioned you to outsource responsibility, to authority, to institutions, to relationships. But individuation demands radical ownership. You are not to blame for your wounds, but you are responsible for your healing. No one will grant you permission to live authentically. You must grant it to yourself. This realization marks the birth of maturity. It is when you cease to identify as a victim and begin to act as a creator. You rebuild yourself quietly, without applause, without validation. You become your own parent, your own guide, your own protector. The ego trembles because it loses its favorite illusion, dependency. But in that trembling, a deeper strength arises. You discover that the source of all meaning was never outside you. It was waiting within, buried beneath layers of fear. Fear itself, Jung reminds us, is sacred. It is the guardian of thresholds. Every major transformation in human life is preceded by fear, not because something is wrong, but because something immense is approaching. When you feel that paralyzing dread, you are standing before the portal of authenticity. Walk through it. Trembling is permitted. Doubt is permitted. Turning back is not. Beyond fear lies real life, raw, unpredictable, luminous. The life that belongs to you, not the one inherited from others. If you listen closely, you will hear the ancient rhythm returning, the pulse of the self beneath the noise of culture. It whispers, you are ready. Ready to stop performing, ready to stop postponing, ready to live as if every breath were sacred. The path will not give you comfort, but it will give you truth. And truth, once tasted, makes illusion impossible. You may stumble, you may fall, you may lose people who cannot understand your transformation. But you will gain the only thing worth having, yourself. The leap begins not with certainty, but with surrender. You do not need to know the entire path, you only need to take the first step. Write it, say it, declare it to yourself, I choose to cross. This simple sentence carries immense symbolic weight. It marks the end of passivity and the beginning of authorship. It is a covenant between your present self and your emerging one. Every word becomes a seed of intention planted in the fertile soil of your awareness. You will still feel fear, but fear will no longer be your master. You will still experience pain, but pain will become your teacher. The ego will still whisper doubts, but you will recognize its voice and smile, knowing it no longer defines you. You will discover that solitude is not loneliness, it is sacred space. You will see that meaning is not something to chase, but something that arises naturally when you live truthfully. And as you walk this path, synchronicities will continue to guide you. A song, a sentence, a stranger's words. You will begin to sense that life itself is participating in your awakening, not as an external miracle, but as an inner correspondence. The outer world mirrors your inner growth. Every event becomes communication between you and the deeper layers of existence. You stop asking whether things are coincidences and start recognizing them as conversations. Eventually, the noise subsides. You no longer need to explain or defend yourself. You no longer measure your worth by external metrics. You become centered, grounded, quietly powerful. The same world that once felt oppressive now feels symbolic. Every challenge, every encounter, every emotion reveals something about your inner landscape. You live consciously rather than reactively. You are no longer chasing meaning, you are living it. This is not the end of your journey, but its true beginning. The self is not a destination, but a lifelong unfolding. Individuation continues as long as you breathe. But once awakened, you can never return to sleep. The old patterns may tempt you, the comfort of conformity may call, but you have tasted reality, and reality is addictive. You will continue to shed, to transform, to die and be reborn, again and again, and with each cycle, you will become more whole, more compassionate, more real. So let this message be both mirror and flame. You are not broken, you are becoming. You are not lost, you are being recalibrated. The pain you carry is the labor of birth. Trust it. Walk toward it. Cross the threshold. Because the life that awaits on the other side is not ordinary. It is yours.